Hey, look out. It is Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
If you're watching Facebook Live or YouTube Live, there she is, Lisa Whittle. She's the host of the podcast called Jesus Over Everything, and she's got a book out. It came out September 7th, The Hard Good, Showing Up for God to Work in You When All You Want to Do Is Shut Down. Lisa, how are you?
Doing fine, thanks.
See, now Dan and I didn't wear our makeup and you did, and look at the contrast.
I know.
No, tell the truth. I was in the middle of putting my makeup on when we did this show, so it's all fine. We're just real.
You know what?
around
We
here.
just stopped putting on makeup because it didn't help us at all. We just still look like this. So.
Sorry for the surprise. I mean, for the last almost 2 years now, we've been working from home, and we do the video and audio, and we enjoy it because you're there in Charlotte, North Carolina. We can have you on the show instead of saying, "Hey, Lisa, why don't you drive down 85 and come to the studio?" And it'd just be too expensive. So,
Yeah.
But we're so glad to see you. Thank you for what you do. Let's talk just a hair about the podcast. Where can people get that podcast? Just probably the regular podcast drops, right?
Yeah. Anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, your podcast app on your phone, Spotify, Stitcher, all the places. Apple Pod, yep.
Now,
what do you talk about on the podcast most of all?
Jesus Over Everything show is we affectionately call it Joe. It's not for Joe Coffee. It's Jesus Over Everything, right? So some people don't realize that, but yes.
But you're not opposed to coffee, though, right? I mean, you
yeah,
you can have a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. We do. I would do 2 shows a week. I do a quick Wednesday show with just me, solo show to about 10 minutes. People like that quick show. But then for people who have a commute, have a little bit longer. Friday, I do interviews with all kinds of folks. Yeah.
Cool.
Tell us a little bit about now your favorite interview so far. Is it somebody that everyone would know, or do you get homegrown folks and you just kind of pick their brain? What's the deal?
That's a great question. That's a hard question though, because I've interviewed a lot of amazing people. Sure, I get famous folks, but I'm about the compelling conversation, and so I don't really care in that sense who it is. Although I think sometimes, it's if someone has done a lot of podcasts, it's easier with the flow. Let me understand that. But one of my most recent interviews is really prevalent on my mind with Dr. Diane Langberg, who is a psychologist. And we talked about, we actually talked about abuse in the church, something really, really important that we need to be talking about. So, yep.
Wow. Hey, check out her podcasts and compelling conversations, something Dan and I rarely have, but you're going to pull us out of the wash here. I know for sure. All right, let's talk about the book, The Hard Good. And sorry for the loss of your father. Not sure how long ago that was, but was this why you wrote this particular book, or tell us the story?
Well, that was certainly probably the catalyst for it. My dad died in 2017. He was my favorite person. He was a pastor. And, I really sort of had a front row seat to this very charismatic person who God used in a great way, but also struggled a lot. And when hard things would happen in his life, historically he would run from them, so we moved around a lot, and he would always say, I think God's calling us away, and we would pack up a U-Haul and we would go to the next place. And but I knew intuitively, even as a young woman, that my dad was running from something that a zip code couldn't fix. And so after Dad died, I felt like the Lord was saying to me, Lisa, what are you going to do with all you know? You've had this front row seat. You've lived some life yourself, and you've spoken with so many people all over the world who have had hard things. We all do. And then the response of those hard things has been very, very different. And you know what it looks like when someone runs away from the hard, and you know what it looks like when that person allows me to work in them through the hard. And I want you to talk about that. And so really that's where the book came from.
And the way, at least on the description on your website, where it says, if we're weary of being bossed by our emotions, just that one phrase alone caught my attention. Being bossed by your emotions. I don't think we think of it that way, but it's a great way to describe it. Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I think we certainly have experienced being bossed by our emotions. We might not have given it that term for sure, but we all know what it feels like when we feel like in some way we're triggered, or the way that we feel has sort of taken over us, and so we respond to people in that way. I mean, certainly, I would say in the volatility of the world in the last couple of years, it's almost like our fingers start typing a response on social media before we even know it, or
Hmm.
we're having problems in relationships and so forth. What I came to realize is, in the faith community in the past, we haven't really dealt with feelings very well. We've sort of said, like, stuff them, don't worry about them, just go on what you know and believe. And sure, we need to go on what we know and believe, but there is this component of our feelings. God created us with them, so they serve a great purpose. They just aren't good bosses. They aren't good guides. They're great informants in our life. And so what I'm asking us to do in this season of our life is to put them in the proper place where they belong, bring them under the control of the Holy Spirit who created us with them, so that they would operate in the way that they best would work to our benefit, so that we're not constantly triggered by these feelings that then we have to go back and mop up after time and time again, which a lot of us do and have.
Yeah.
Lisa Whittle has a new book out. Check it out. It's called The Hard Good, Showing Up for God to Work in You When All You Want to Do Is Shut Down. Thank you for being so candid about your life. I just wonder, I mean, wow, you observing that and taking it in, how have you been able to, in hard times, not shut down and run away because you've seen that model? And how has this all helped maybe your family?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, sometimes I have shut down. So I think history informs our own life, and it's certainly informed the pages of this book. I'm very honest in this book. I'm very raw and very real about that. I think it does us no good as faith leaders, as thought leaders, as ministry leaders, to not own that. We can't ask other people to not be honest and real if we're not willing to be that ourselves. So yeah, historically, I have run away and I have shut down at times in my life. It just hasn't served me. And so I think because I am a wild pragmatist, I want to say to people, like, I get it. We want to shut down, but here's why showing up is so much better for you. It's not charity work. It's not like, well, I'm going to show up for God. Let me just do this for you, God. It is for you, for your life, because it will help you so much. Not only live fully, and there are a lot of people in the hard things that have shut down, and as a result, they're not really living. But also, it helps us in so many ways for whatever's to come next that we don't know and can't anticipate. And if the quarantine and the pandemic has taught us anything from the last 2 years, is that we don't know what's around the corner. And so showing up for your life is going to be really important, because we just don't have the luxury of just not living while we're still alive. I mean, we can do it, but it just won't serve us well, and it won't give us the life that we ultimately want.
Lisa, what are you hearing from folks so far who have had the chance to read through the book?
It's been, gosh, overwhelming in the best way. It's been compelling. I have been truly blown away by the response. I felt like it was an important word for now, but I don't think I fully grasped how important it would be. People that are saying, that they got their copy and they read it and they've already reread it again, and they've passed it on to this person and this person, this person. I think it's because God knew that this book needed to come out now. I mean, it's wild, but if you know anything about publishing, you know that, the concept comes long before, then you write the book, then it comes out. I mean, this book came to me in 2017, but God knew it needed to come out in 2021 after we were all so weary of everything that was happening. And it's been compelling. It's been compelling that my DMs are full. My emails box is full of people who say, thank you for writing this book. And it's saving my life. I'm taking it to my counselor's office. We're processing it together. Those things you just can't put a price on. Yeah.
Wow.
Love it. It's called The Hard Good, and we're talking with Lisa Whittle. I wonder how many I know this book is for everyone, obviously, but for those that have pastors as fathers or are pastors, that whole dynamic, I wonder how many have read it or heard about it and how it's helping them. Because I mean, like you said, years ago, nobody talked about it. Here we are, 2021. It's way past time. Very brave of you, and we appreciate it. In fact, I want to read it. It sounds like an awesome book.
Thanks, Rick.
Hard good, showing up for God to work in you when all you want to do is shut down. I know this was just released September 7. What are you working on now for the future beside the podcast? What are you working on?
Well, I was looking at my calendar. I've got another book coming out in March of 23. And I just wrote Jesus Over Everything. So, but really and truly, in 2017, the Lord gave me the idea for 3 books. It would be a trilogy. And so it was Jesus Over Everything, The Hard Good, and then one more that I'll write to be released in March of 23. Really, really felt like these were 3 messages for the church. And so I'm excited about it. I'll start writing that probably in January.
2023, you got plenty of time. You know, you can start. You can wait till 2022.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Good stuff. Lisa Whittle, check out her books, and also the podcast, Jesus Over Everything. Lisa, we would love, seriously, to talk to you again. Love to talk to you maybe in December, and then next year talk about this new book, because this is good stuff. Thank you again for being so brave, and just well done. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
and I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.